Megalina, Hagalina, Ooka Baka, Waka Waka, Choka Mocha Choka was her name.
Let's not do anymore.
Hit Megalina. Poor guy had to buy a new machine. Megalina, Hagalina, Ooka Baka, Waka Waka, Oka Mocha Choka was her name.
That's the only part I can say.
I'm one of the older ones of the group here, and as a freshman coming in, they started a diving program, and there was nobody else that could do a somersault off the diving board. So that's how our diving program began.
The swim club, swim team was like my second family. We started, like Renee said, at a young age, and we just kind of progressed together. Best years of my life in high school were swimming for the Fruitport Trojans, ladies swim team. I can remember my parents having to take us to the 6 a.m. classes because we had to get pool time.
I have a memory, too, of swim club. I remember my parents signed us up for it, and we have 3 sisters that swam. And we didn't know how to swim. To get in, be a part of that club, you had to be able to swim a lap of the pool. And I can remember spitting and sputtering, and I got out, and I can remember getting in the car and telling my mom, I'm not going back to that swim club. I can't do that. But then she always used to tell the story that, but yet, by the time practice came around, we were the first ones that had our swimsuits and our towels and our bag, and we were ready to go, even though it was, at that time, the hardest thing for us because we didn't really know how to swim.
I first started out beginners swimming in Spring Lake, okay? And I'll tell you something. They tested us, and I drowned, and they pulled me back out. And then they said, no, if you want to pass beginners, you're going to have to work a little harder. So I worked a little harder, and then I went to intermediate. And then I think from there we did life-saving. And all these girls here, I think each one of us had a chance to grow as a family together.
You know, when Roger first came to Fruitport, and that's Roger Harriman, and started the swim program, it really was a program, and it started with the very young and went through all the age groups, and so that's why they built such a great program that had a lot of championships. And I remember when I first started swimming, it was in swim club before I started diving. I couldn't swim without nose plugs because I'd get water up my nose. And Terry Vanderkooy, after one of the practices, we were in the shower, or we were in the office where Jeannie and Terry were, and Terry said, you can't wear your nose plugs forever. She said, you're going to have to learn how to swim without nose plugs. And so she told me how, and sure enough, it worked, and it was great.
And I was a diver, so I dove before school. We did like required dives, like all your back dives, just without flips. And then after school, then you went to practice and did your flips and twist. So it was like how we spent every day.
I spent 2 summers working in the pool, from early morning swim practice through senior citizen swim lessons to infant swim lessons. Eventually, we also helped with the Special Olympics, if you remember. We all worked together with synchronized swimming. Anyone remember that? Also with water polo. That was great fun with the guys.
I remember that our swim team didn't have a scoreboard, and we needed to make up the money. And someone came up with 200 laps of the pool and go out and take this piece of paper and get sponsors and signatures. Oh, it's called a swim-a-thon. And I'll tell you what, I made all 200 links, but I also had my older sister do it with me, Joanne. And it was really awesome because we pulled our family members together with us.
I can remember some of the best times after swimming were the times we spent in the hot showers with sore muscles, and we just soaked and soaked. And I can remember my mom being out in the parking lot waiting, and she'd be like, what are you doing? Well, we were just soaking in the hot showers.
I had to ride my bike to the other side of Fruitport after every practice. I was exhausted by the time I got home.
Yeah.
It was worth it. And one thing to add on that is not only did we soak in the hot showers, we would also soap up in the ramp. So this is something that
Coach Colton loved.
yeah, we didn't really get caught doing it, well, per se. One of the there were a lot of life lessons in and around the pool and in the van and in the buses and such, but one of the things I learned was that while you are always trying to become your personal best, you're always doing it as a team. You're supporting the team. So maybe I wasn't the best, swimmer, but they put me in where I could excel. So I couldn't do what Renee was doing, but I could do butterfly, or I could do backstroke. I sure couldn't dive. But that was an amazing lesson that you're working on your personal best within a team and trying to keep that team moving forward all the time. And what a great lesson.
I live not far from Roger Harriman, so him and his wife were like family to me. I rode home with them a lot, and he tried to get me to run with him in the morning, but that didn't work so good. So but I spent a lot of time with them, and he's probably a good reason why I did as many sports as I did.
You remember how he used to follow us as we were swimming our lengths and kind of, shouting out, our corrections and such? I can remember him telling us one time that you really know you're working when you feel yourself sweat in the water. Do you remember that? That has been my mantra for personal and professional my entire life. And I think that's why I'm a workaholic.
He pushed us beyond limits. A lot of things that we didn't even think were possible. He got us in the gym on the trampoline. We worked out in there, and then he got a belt for the swimming pool, and that was a difference for Fruitport divers. But with that being said, Sherry Coltis, I am a coach now, and she is probably the reason that I wanted to coach. She was just a phenomenal coach and person, and she pushed us, and you'd look at her and say, I'm done. I had diving this morning, and she said, you can do it. And it's the two coaches that we had, I think, made a huge difference in the way we were.
We were lucky. We had very talented coaches. We had so many records that we had set and so many state champions. And then I remember when we were freshmen, we actually had 4 divers that had qualified for the state meet, which I think, I don't know this for sure, but that was a lot of divers on a team from the same school district that qualified.
But all in all, we came together as a team because we've had good coaches, we had friendship and love, and I tell every woman, man, or anyone out there, go for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, before the players are introduced, the swimmers, would like to have spokespeople Jean McLean and Coach Coltis come up. Let's welcome them both. The 1972 to 77 girls swim teams.
Wow, what an emotional night. On behalf of the girls swim team, we would like to thank you all so much for being here for this special evening. Back when the middle school was being built, it was in '69 it was complete. And that came an exciting time for women, and especially women in sports and women in school. That was the first year that we were allowed to wear pants to school. That was a big accomplishment for us. You guys don't understand. And then, but the most exciting part was with the middle school came a pool. And at the same time, Title IX was now in place, and the Fruitport girls swim team was formed. At my first conference meet, I did an inward somersault, and when I went in the water, I plugged my nose. That's not what you do. You don't plug your nose at a conference meet. And I came up, and I got out of the pool, and I was walking over by my team, and there was girls from another school district laughing at me. That was very embarrassing for me, being a competitor that I am. But the next year, in the beginning of the fall school year, Mr. Roger Harriman was hired and he was hired to be the pool director. He came and helped with the divers. He put so much of his own time. And in the previous years, we would have to time our dive the same time of swimming practice, and we'd have to time our dives around the swimmers. So we'd have to wait for them to go through, and then we'd get a dive in. With Roger coming there, the one thing that we had our divers do is we had to get up at 6 a.m., and we would have diving practice before school, and then after school we'd have swim practice, and then again he would have us go to the gym some evenings, and we would practice on the trampoline, or I think he even made a portable diving pit that we had to dive in. So with his direction, while the girls that giggled at me that year before, while they were still doing their somersaults and required dives, we were learning how to do 1.5s, doubles, 2.5, and even these crazy twist dives that he had to put in there. So to Roger, thank you so much for your time, dedication, extensive knowledge, but most of all, the gift of giving us courage and believe in ourselves to even attempt some of those crazy dives. Now with the swim team now in place, the most important thing was we needed to find a coach. Well, we didn't have to look far because Sherry Coltis, which was the middle school PE teacher at the time, and how lucky and blessed we were that she made the decision to be our coach. She was an awesome coach who pushed us to work hard, and because of that, we won 5 back-to-back conference championships, many years taking every first in the conference. Each year, several swimmers qualified for state, while many placed. Some even became state champions. Sherry was not only a great coach, she was a positive female role model, which we didn't have many back then, and a great mentor to all of us. She was firm but fair, and she instilled in me personally a passion and love for coaching. With that being said, I'm honored and proud to introduce Sherry Coltis, cycling.
Thank you. I'm going to stay with a script so that you don't have to suffer through a senior moment here. I want to thank the swim team for allowing me to be a part of their successes and the celebration. And a special thank you to the parents and the families for all of their support throughout our seasons. You persevered, swimmers, through long and difficult practices, and then would perform a personal best in our next meet. This team never lost a conference meet, not even the year that the pool developed a large crack and the water was drained during our season. This team pioneered women's swimming and diving and were part of the first state-sanctioned competitions. There were many times that I was very proud to be your coach. Your records speak for your athletic ability. Also, you had the highest academic grades of any Fruitport team. Then there was the time that East Grand Rapids coach and swim team sent a letter to the Fruitport administration noting that our girls' swim team had outstanding athletes, demonstrated excellent sportsmanship, and you were fun. You were their favorite competition. The team's sense of humor came out in the songs that you made up and sung when we were on bus rides. And then there was a meet where you marched into the pool area in line together, sat down on a bench, crossed your legs all together, and smiled at the spectators and your parents, and you had blacked out your 2 front teeth. Everyone who was a part of this team was always striving to reach the next level and continue to improve. That is why the Fruitport girls swim team excelled as it did. And now you have become amazing women, wives, mothers, and friends. I'm going to leave you with a quote made by Christopher Robin to Winnie the Pooh. Promise me you will always remember you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. And I would also like to thank Roger for coming and helping with the diving. That was not really my wheelhouse. I was not good at keeping my eyes open while I thought they might hit the board. So I'm very thankful for him.
We're going to have the 2 coaches hand out the plaques. Ladies, when you come up, you just can come right across the stage. And then there's going to be a photo shoot when you're done. So don't go beyond this table out here. Just stay right there. And we will conclude after that. So I'm going to read the names, please. And you guys, coaches, we're so glad that you're here. Brenda Artis Olson. Kimberly Artis. Cindy Oric Timmerman. Denise Brown Lafersky. Laura Rapierre Carpenter. Linda Hall Lee. Sherry Hart. Brenda Hartman Arlett. Jeannie Howard McLean. Angelin Lieber. Sally Lieber Saheb-Heiser. Janet Lockman Gillis. Renee Reed Shaw. Debbie Sanborn Undersmart. Dawn Sayer Durkee. Denise Sayer Redmond. Dawn Stoner Clark. Renee Karzek Schramm. Terry Vanderkooy. Diane Wadiga Tyczynski. Lynette Wadiga Bloomberg. Carla Welton. And then coaches Sherry Coltis and Roger Harriman.